Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Dr. Fadil Krafanovic. Today we're going to go over how to navigate through our Canvas app in order to participate in the classes. I know some professors prefer to leave a limited amount of information up there. I prefer to put my entire courses on Canvas so that students have access to everything right away from the very beginning of the course. So with that, let's take a look at we'll open up this Introduction to Philosophy course here, and we're going to switch over into student view so that we can see this exactly as you would be seeing it. And what you'll notice is that immediately our home page is the modules page, and you can see the entirety of this course laid out all the way down from the very first week to the very last assignment that's available. So what we want to take a look at is a couple of things. First is the first module up here at the top called Course Introduction. That will give you all sorts of information that you're going to need, including the syllabus, the assignment guide, and some other information. So let's start off with seeing how modules work. So you'll notice, for example, on these critical thinking book elements here, that they're not clickable. And the reason why they're not clickable is because they don't represent a PDF file or a link to somewhere else. They merely indicate what the assigned reading is from some sort of an external source, right? So that has to be a book of some variety. So when you see those, that's the content that you're supposed to read for that module. And then we go down into the discussion. Now when we click on the discussion, it will take us to a page that looks something like this. Now in this case, we don't have anybody who has posted a discussion yet. So the way that you would do this, if you happen to be the first, is you click on this reply box over here, and that will open up a space for you to type your discussion into. Now if you have a wonky internet connection, I strongly suggest that you actually write out your discussions in a Word file or something, and then you copy paste it into the text box here just so you don't lose your information. So when you're done typing, you go ahead and you click the post reply button, and ta-da, there it is. Now if you're not the first person posting and you get to the discussion, you'll see other people's discussion posts here, and then if you find somebody's discussion that's particularly interesting, you can then go ahead and reply straight to their discussion, and when you're done with that, you hit post reply again, and then that's what that looks like. Pretty straightforward. So let's go back to our home page here. Now you'll notice when we get here to module 2, you have a couple of these links that are available. Now the interesting part is that when you click on these, very often Canvas will not be willing to open them up, and it's because the content is insecure, and the reason why it's insecure is because the address starts with HTTP rather than HTTPS. The S stands for secure. That security doesn't matter here because that security is all about your credit card information that you might be putting into that website, and obviously we don't use that. So if you have this sort of problem that pops up, the way you get around it is you click on the name of the item up here at the top. So where it says diverse sources, if I go ahead and click on that, what's going to happen is it's going to take me directly to the actual site in a separate tab. The same is true for YouTube videos, which occasionally it will not want to connect to, and that's fine. Again, you just sort of click on the name of the item up here and it will take you to that place. Here we have an example of two other sorts of things. There is a different kind of assignment, not a discussion board, but an assignment where you're supposed to submit something, and in this case it's the response paper that goes here, and above that you have a sample response paper to give you some sort of a guideline as to what it is that you're supposed to be trying to do. So if we click on that, it should take us right to here, If we give it a minute, it will load. In case you're having problems with loading your content, what you can do is click down up here on this blue title of the paper, and that will let you download it. So there you are. You can take a look at what's written. That gives you your sample to work off of, and that's that. And then when you go into the actual response assignment, what you will see is some of the content of what it is that you're supposed to do. And when you hit start assignment, it will ask you to upload a file. When you're uploading a file, please make sure that it's either a Word file or a PDF file, because I can't open a bunch of the other things that are there. Okay, so now that we have seen what some of these modules look like, let's take a look at what the syllabus and the assignment guide elements are all about. And the way we'll do that is we will, there we go. We'll shift over like this. Now obviously this is a syllabus from a particular class, but all syllabi more or less work the same way. They give you information about what the class is, that's up top, when it is, any reading materials and so on that are required. There's a course description for your particular class. There's an attendance policy, what time you can withdraw or drop the class. And then we get to the interesting part, which is things like the grading system. So you know how to get your 100% or how to get your A or whatever other grade it is that you happen to be aiming for. So you'll notice here that we have 3 kinds of assignments: discussions, responses, and closing statement. It will tell you how many of each assignment we have. It will tell you what the points for each of the assignments are available at, and then that will tell you what your total grade percentage off of that is. It tells you what the due dates are, because this is a completely asynchronous course. All the assignments are due on Fridays, except for the closing statement. And it tells you the consequences of being late, which is 10% penalty per day. And finally, we have the tentative course schedule. This is important, especially if you're taking this as an asynchronous class, because it gives you a really nice layout of what the semester is going to look like. And so for each week, you have what the topic is, you have which module it is that you're doing, you have which discussion is going to be due, and then any other assignment that you have that's going to be due. That allows you to sort of plan out what your time is going to look like for the semester, because if you see that you have multiple other assignments coming up on top of some heavy readings, you probably want to clear that stuff up as soon as you can. In fact, for our class, you can do all the work as fast as you want to, especially with asynchronous classes. So if you want to clear up this class from your schedule because of the midterms that you have for other courses, by all means, please do so. You can do that literally from day one, and that should make things a little easier. So how do you do all of these assignments? That is why we have this little document, the assignment guide. And now the assignment guide is essentially a walkthrough for every type of assignment that we have and what it is that you're supposed to do with it. You have your contents, you have a brief explanation about the class to begin with, a layout of how it is that we're moving. And so here, for example, in discussions, again, the repetition, we have 15 discussions. They're worth 4% each. That adds up to 60% of your grade. There is the why explanation and then the how explanation. We use word counts for our course assignments because that's relatively easy to measure. Again, the due dates are highlighted right over here. And you have some guidelines as to what you can and can't do to get your points. So for example, you're not supposed to summarize the readings in your discussions. You're supposed to pick a particular point and then focus in on that, sort of dive deeper to see what's going on. And at the end of each of these, there is a little explanation on how you lose points in the assignment. So anything that's late loses 10% per day, and discussion posts that are under a minimum word count lose 50% of their value immediately. So please do make sure that you hit those word counts. And then we do the same thing for a separate kind of assignment, and then for a separate kind of assignment. And finally, at the end, there's an explanation of how to calculate out your grade. Now, whether you're using Canvas or Blackboard or D2L, all of those systems have a really good chance of miscalculating your grade. And the reason being is that those systems rely not on the work that that you have submitted, so to speak, but only on the work that got graded. So if you only submit one assignment for the entire semester, then that is the only assignment that you have a grade on. And if you have 100% on that assignment, like say it was worth 1% of your final grade, then Canvas will show you that you have a 100% grade for the class, right? And that's an A. When in fact you only have 1% of the course completed, and that's an F. So the thing you want to do is make sure that you actually go through and take a look at your grades and take a look at those due dates on those grades. And that way what you can do is you can see every place that you've missed points for the course. So what you do is you add up all the points that you missed and you subtract that out of 100, and that will tell you what is your highest possible grade for the course. That's actually about it. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. And if not, then best of luck in the course to you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.